guys, I'm bringing to you today something I call carbonara pasta. It's just something random that I made one day. It was freaking delicious. You guys are really gonna like it. So right here I have some chicken sausages with tomato and basil mixed in. This is microwave bacon. I use this over uncooked bacon. It's already cooked. Just because there's less grease involved. I already like it crispy, and there's still some of the grease, you know, so all the other the flavors will, and the vegetables will suck up that grease and, you know, enhance the flavor of the dish. So it's really nice. What I like to do is just stack it up like this, and, you know, I'll basically just, you know, you want to chop them into little tiny circles like this, and that's basically so they're bite-sized, so when you're eating your pasta, it's easy to just catch one piece with a fork. And then with the bacon, you know, very similar. Just chopping it up into tiny little chunks, and we're going to throw all of these chunks in. The reason I chose chicken sausage over other sausages, it's a lot less fat than any other sausage and sodium. I got these from a local supermarket. It has like 7 grams of fat in one sausage and 15 grams of protein. That's typically what I look at, is I want high protein value compared to the fat and the calories. The bacon actually isn't that bad either. It's a common misconception that bacon's really bad for you. It really isn't. It has a decent amount of sodium, but compared to some of the other breakfast foods, especially like sausage, it's actually pretty good. I like bacon. Plus, it's the nectar of the gods. So, ideally, you can substitute this chicken sausage for any other kind of meat. You know, you could do steak or just regular chicken breast. I usually, last time I did this, I did it with regular chicken breast. So what I've done here is I started off with the meat, cooking it in the pan. I have the temperature on high. Anytime you're going to cook meat with vegetables or anything else you're going to throw in there, you always want to cook the meat first. You want to make sure that it's fully cooked so you don't get any bacteria and stuff before you start throwing everything else in. So I want it like almost brown at that point. And at the same time that I threw the meat in, I also put a pot of water on to start the pasta. So I like to do them both at the same time. They usually finish together that close. I'm going to go ahead and get bacon in there as well. Just start getting some of the juices flowing out. I haven't put any oil in yet. If you want, you could put some butter in initially. I'm going to put the vegetables in soon, and then I'm going to douse with oil, so I don't want to overly oil my dish. That's a mistake I made a lot when I first started cooking. But the less oil, the better. You really don't need that much oil. A lot of cooks will use a lot of oil and butter, which, yeah, enhances the taste, but we cook healthy here, okay? You know, we're not trying to get tubby. We want to eat healthy, delicious food. So minimal oil, minimal salt. Well, I know bacon has a lot of salt, but we're not gonna drench this thing in salt and butter and oil. We're gonna keep it healthy. All right, as you can see, these are starting to get a little bit brown, so that's about the time we're going to want to throw in our vegetables, and then we're going to put some oil on it. So the first thing that we have is some spinach leaves. And when the spinach gets sauteed, it really adds a lot of the flavor. It's super healthy, and it's a superfood, and it goes well with the tomato-based sauce. You know, I'm just going to dump all this in there, because it shrinks down a lot. I mean, you could literally cook a whole bag of spinach and, you know, eat it in like 2 bites. Dry spinach cooks down really fast. Chopped onions, chopped these myself. I just bought 1 onion. This isn't even the whole onion. It's a sweet white, I think. You know, organic. Onions add a lot of flavor. And again, with the oil, they're really going to simmer down. They're not going to be crunchy and overly tasteful. They're gonna add an interesting flavor with the cooking meat. That's why steak and cheeses, you know, you always put onions with your steak and cheeses. Something happens with the mixture of the onions and meat that really brings out a lot of flavor. Next we have tomatoes. These aren't really necessary. I'm actually just trying them here for the first time, but with all the vegetables and meat, I'm sure they'll be delicious. And these will probably simmer down as well. This is actually 2 small organic tomatoes. That should be plenty. And finally we have chopped mushrooms. If you want to chop them yourself, you can. I like to buy things chopped already if I can. It just saves a lot of time. Alright, so this is, as you can see, this is pretty full already. We haven't added in the sauce yet. What I like to do is slowly drizzle it around. Alright, so let's see if that's a good amount. That might have been too much. You can hear it really sizzling now. And what we want to do is mix all this up so that everything gets the oil. You want to make sure that it's fully spread evenly throughout. And everything's going to get a little bit of that simmer. I love that sound. I love it! I love it when the vegetables are simmering and you can hear the meat crackle and pop. Makes me so hungry. Oh my god, I'm going to crush this. Alright, so now I got everything nice and doused in the oil. I think that should be enough. And a lot of the water that comes from the vegetables and everything will come out as well. And so these vegetables and meats will start to simmer in that. So, okay, now we have everything mixed. We're really just going to sit here, put a top over it, let this baby cook for about 5-10 minutes. Now it's only been about 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe, but I like to just come over. You can really see now, I'm going to zoom in, you can kind of see the water bubbling in there. All that fluid's coming out of the vegetables and the oil and the meats, and they're all mixing together. And then, you know, I'm just going to do another little, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you know, mix it together. I'm going to do a little mix it together. Patented, copyrighted, motherfucker. Alright, so, yeah, that is a lot of liquid. In fact, I might even need to drain this. It's like way too much. Let me see here. I'm going to let it cook for a couple more minutes. And then if there's still a lot of liquid, I'm going to have to drain this. I haven't, you know what it is? It's probably from the tomatoes. I haven't cooked with tomatoes in this dish before. And tomatoes hold a ton of water. And they're probably all just seeping out right now. Now, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, everything's cooking in that, and that's adding a ton of flavor throughout. But, you know, everything's not going to cook that well, and I don't want it to be soggy, you know, per se. So, it's not going to cook that fast, and I don't want it to be soggy. So if it doesn't evaporate within the next 2 minutes or so, I'm going to drain it. Now I can see the water boiling, so I am going to pour all my pasta in there. And this box says to cook it for 11 to 13 minutes. I like to go on the higher end side. Make sure you stir it every couple minutes. Some of the pasta will float to the top and it'll get hard, so you want to make sure you stir it and make it consistent throughout. So now I'm just going to pour the sauce in. And if you want to cook the sauce on your own, you can, but I like to do this, and I'll show you why later. So before I stir it in, I'm going to season it. Notice how I haven't put any salt or pepper or seasonings on yet. In order to evenly distribute that and let the heat from the sauce kind of absorb all that seasoning, I'm going to put it in like this. And I just really just lay it on. Just like oregano and basil and some other things. And then this is garlic salt. Make sure you don't over salt it. I might have just poured too much. You're already going to get a lot of salt from the meat and the bacon. Probably a good amount, just throw the rest away. And then a little black peppercorn, not necessary, just adding some flavor. Alright, so now that we have all that mixed in, or put in, we're going to mix it together. Make sure that everything gets evenly distributed. And this is where the fun stuff happens, because all these meats and vegetables are going to start to absorb the tomato sauce. The tomato sauce I use is like an olive oil, garlic, and basil blend. Just get it from any grocery store. It took me a couple brands to find one I like. So now we really don't have to touch it for about another 5 minutes. So we've been cooking this for 17 minutes already. And what's going to happen is all this sauce and this fluid is going to start to evaporate. And some of it's going to evaporate, and all the meats and vegetables are going to start to absorb a lot of it as well. So it's just going to be packed full of flavor. I just took the lid off for about 5 minutes. It's really, really hot, so it's starting to kind of stick. I probably should have stirred it a little bit more. I was entertaining my guest, so I kind of just left it. But it's okay. I kind of like it when it gets a little bit charcoal, a little bit crispy. I just know it's cooked well. I kind of like that smoky flavor as well. So it is just about done. It's very thick right now over the pasta. It's going to be good. This serves about 4 people, I would say. Alright, so we're done. I just finished the pasta. I strained it. And I turned off the heat on this a couple minutes ago. So it's still smoking hot. Obviously, you need some time. But you can see the mixture of all the vegetables, spinach, mushrooms. The tomatoes and onions are kind of hidden. There's a chunk of tomato. And this is really, really going to be a powerful flavor dish. Flavorfully powerful flavor. And you're gonna nut when you bite it. That's all I'm gonna say. You will nut. Alright, so I'm gonna make a dish and show you the final product. So here you go. As you can see, it's really, really, really hot. So you need to take your time. I didn't garnish it too well, but you know, what are you gonna do? I'm not a chef. I'm just a guy who knows how to cook randomly somehow, and I make inventions that are healthy and delicious. And what I'm gonna do is chop it off with some shredded reduced fat cheddar cheese. Boom, like that. And the heat from that will just melt it on top and make it really, really tasty and gooey when you use your fork and pour away those big pieces of cheese. It's going to be awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to make plenty more, so subscribe and I'll see you next time. Cleaning up my carbonara chicken. Yeah, the pasta was good. Woo!